Hello, everyone, and welcome to C. Thomas Talks. I have a question, and before I ask this question, I will explain that what I'm about to ask, I'm gonna get full disclaimer. Sorry, full disclosure, one or two. Why is marijuana still illegal in many states? Now, I ask this question, but I'm gonna also say that one, I do not, and I have not, nor have I ever smoked marijuana before. Weed, marijuana, whatever you want to call it. I've never smoked before a day in my life. Never, never, never. And with that being said, I still ask the question, why is marijuana illegal in many states? Now I know over the years, some states have made it legal, medicinal purposes and stuff. But I ask this question. The reason why I ask this question is because I'm looking at the either I would hear it or I would see it on the news or reading about it. All of these stories of people overdosing, from oxycodone and like prescription medicine addictions and all that stuff. You hear the music, you hear like mixing drugs together and all that stuff, and I'm like, all of these overdoses from legal drugs that you can get from the pharmacy. There's more overdoses from those than there's from marijuana. Yet marijuana is still widely illegal. And I was like, what's the reason? When did marijuana become such a taboo thing? When did it become taboo? Like, when did it become a problem in this country especially? I mean, I know other countries across the world will have different laws and views on it, but I'm talking about speaking for the United States of America. They call marijuana a gateway drug. A gateway how? Do it mean like if you smoke marijuana, that's how you start off with, and you'll end up going to stronger and stronger drugs? Like, is that actually true? Or is that just propaganda? Because I don't think we actually properly understand what a drug is. So that's fine. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find a definition for a drug. Okay? Drug definition. What's the definition of drug? Okay. Now, I'm looking up the definition of a drug, and it says drug. It's a noun. It could be a noun. It could be a noun and a verb. The first one is a medicine or other substance which has physiological effects when ingested or otherwise introduced into the body. Okay, you got synonyms for it: medicine, medication, uh, pharmaceutical, stuff like that. The verb is administer a drug to someone in order to induce stupor or insensibility. Uh, okay. Now, maybe they changed the definition because I remember being young. Like when I was younger, I was told that the definition of a drug was anything that was man-made. Like, because by this is like a very wide, broad definition, and they obviously must have changed the definition from the time I was young. And still, because I grew up in a time where they had that. Though, this is your brain on drugs, and they would smash the egg with a pan and say any questions. But I was always told that a drug was anything that was man-made, that it wasn't natural, didn't come from the ground, didn't come from the earth or anything. I was like, but if that's the case, why why are stronger drugs like, I mean, because you won't be like, alcohol is a drug. It's a drug because it says medicine or other substance which has physiological effects when ingested or otherwise introduced into the body. Like alcohol. Alcohol is a drug. Beer, liquor, those are drugs. Um, Pharmaceutical medicine, they even got pharmaceutical as a synonym. Pharmaceutical medicine, like Tylenol and ibuprofen and Oxycontin and oxycodone and Xanax, which is the new thing now, which is nuts. Anyway, but those things, those drugs, which have caused more deaths than marijuana has ever caused, are sold legally. Let's see. Let's just see. Let's type in marijuana related deaths. How many? I put how many? Um, let's see. Marijuana related deaths. Let's see. How many people have died from marijuana from weed? Let's see. Let's see if we can come up with a reputable source. Let's see. I'm looking at the website from the Chicago Tribune, and let's see. Which will loads up, of course. It says the truth behind the first marijuana overdose death headline. Did you hear that? That title alone should ring a. This article was November 18th, 2017, and it says the truth behind the first marijuana overdose headline, which means from the time human beings have been partaking in marijuana or cannabis use, from this very article, there haven't been any deaths. Okay, let's see. Now it says a case report about the seizure and death of an 11-month-old after exposure to cannabis has prompted headlines about the first marijuana overdose death this week. That's crazy. And it says, except that, here's the part, I'm going to read it again. It says, a case report about the seizure and death of 11-month-old after exposure to cannabis has prompted headlines about the first, it has in quotes, first marijuana overdose death, quote unquote, this week. Except that's not what doctors meant. Okay, interesting. This is a quote, all right? We are absolutely not saying that marijuana killed that child, said Thomas Nape, an author of the report, who is now director of medical toxicology. They deal with the study of toxins and all that stuff at St. Luke University Health Network in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Nape, who co-authored the report with Christopher Hoyt, explained that the doctors simply observed this unusual sequence of events, documented it, and alerted to the medical community that it is worth studying a possible relationship between cannabis and a child's cause of death. Is it myocarditis or inflammation of the heart muscles? Okay. Their observations appeared in the August edition of the journal Clinical Practice in cases in emergency medicine as a case report, which is significantly different from the scientific studies or research report that can be used to establish a causal relationship. A spokesman from the Denver Health wrote in an email that Hoyt would not be available for interview late Thursday. The report states that the child experienced an unstable motel living condition, and the parents admitted to drug possession, including cannabis, which means there was more than cannabis. There's more than just weed there, which means it could have been other types of drugs there, and cannabis was just one of them. It could have been a whole lot of stuff much stronger. Nape said the author urged parents to be vigilant and keep cannabis out of reach of children. Okay? The report recommends in states where cannabis is legalized, it is important that physicians not only counsel parents on preventing exposure to cannabis, but to also consider cannabis toxicity and unexplained pediatric myocarditis and cardiac deaths as a basis for urine drug screening in this setting. The author added, as of this writing, the first reported pediatric death associated with exposure. Okay, so now that's basically saying is the story behind this was, which leads me to believe that just reading this alone, that whole thing about the first reported marijuana death was 11-month-old. I see where the problem could come, because it's still the story about the 11-month-old who died from who parents were using drugs, including marijuana. But if this is the very first case of a person dying from the cause of marijuana, I don't think marijuana was the cause. I believe, from my own understanding, from my own thoughts, there was more done to that child than just inhaling marijuana. Because I'm looking here, and in what I'm reading right now, it does not say the other drugs. It does not say the other drugs here. All it says is marijuana. It does not say the other drugs. So that was just one. That was just one report. So let's talk about this. If that is on record the first reported death of a person from marijuana, meaning throughout the millennium, throughout the eons, that humans have been partaking in the consumption of marijuana through many forms or many ways. Only one death. Only one recent death that we know of. That's on record. We're gonna go back on record. So, with only one death reported, why is weed still being demonized throughout the United States? But alcohol, let's see how many alcohol deaths there are. Alcohol-related deaths as of 2017. Let's just look that up. Alcohol-related deaths. And alcohol can be, here you go, per year. Let's go by per year. That could be drunk driving. It can be alcohol poisoning. All that. This is from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. All right. It says drinking too much alcohol can harm your health. Duh. Excessive alcohol use led to approximately 88,000 deaths and 2.5 million years of potential lifefall. That just means that 88,000 deaths equals up to, because different age ranges. 88,000 deaths and 2.5 million years of potential life. Okay? Potential life. Each year in the United States from 2006 to 2010, shortening the lives of those who died in an average age of 30 years. So let's just do the math on that. 2006, 2010, 4 years. Simple math. 88,000 deaths. Okay, so 88,000 deaths in 4 years with an average age of 30 years. So people of my age, my generation, I'm 34 years old. So average age of 30, 88,000 deaths. Let's just say 88,000 people who are all 30 years old. Let's just, I know, I'm just think in your mind. 88,000 deaths in 4 years, average age of 30, which means you like drunk driving. Like, these are all alcohol related deaths in 4 years. Yet it is sold. Now, not only is it sold in stores, there's commercials. There are commercials. You look on, especially when sporting events are going on, because more beer and alcohol is sold during sporting events than any other event. NASCAR, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, soccer, stuff like that. So it's parties, New Year's, birthdays, 4th of July, Super Bowl, college football, World Series events, things like that. Large gathering. Alcohol is being served. So you got people drinking too much. They can get liver. It can be a car accident, drunk driving. It can be liver failure from years of drinking. Things like that. 88,000 deaths in 4 years. Yet it is sold like nothing. Like you can buy a beer like you buy a cheeseburger. Beer is like cheeseburger. You could got a McDonald's, got a liquor store. You got liquor stores. Yet you don't. Well, I'll play this. At one point in time in American history, you had a time period where alcohol was demonized. Prohibition during the 20s. That's actually how NASCAR got started. Anybody know about the history of NASCAR? They know it got started during Prohibition. So, at one point in time, alcohol was demonized. Prohibition, usually you have what's called dry states and wet states. A dry state is a state where they don't sell alcohol. I know there are some states, I think in Pennsylvania, where certain days out of the week, like on Sunday, they don't sell alcohol. On Sunday, it's like dry on that day. There are certain states where it's an all dry state, meaning they don't sell alcohol there, for moral and religious purposes. Not really because you drunk driving, but it was because for moral purposes, religious purposes, no drinking, not drunk and stuff like that. But that's just one form of drug that is accepted more than marijuana. Let's go to cigarettes. Let's go to cigarette-related deaths. Cigarette. They even got caffeine. They got cigarette-related deaths. They got caffeine. They even got coconut-related death. What? Okay, alright, whatever. All right. Cigarette-related deaths. Cigarette smoke. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control. All right. Smoking tobacco and all that stuff. Cigarettes. Here we go. Cigarette smoking is responsible for more than 480,000 deaths per year in the United States, including more than 41,000 deaths resulting from secondhand smoke, meaning you don't even have to be the one smoking. Secondhand smoke, meaning the smoke that's blown out, gets into your lungs, can kill you. That way they would say secondhand smoke is worse than firsthand. 41,000 deaths resulting from secondhand smoke. Cigarette smoke, not marijuana smoke. It says here cigarette-related deaths. Okay. Secondhand exposure. This is about 1 in 5 deaths annually, or 3,100 or 1,300 or 1,300 deaths every day. On average, smokers die 10 years earlier than non-smokers. Right? So you see that. This is from the CDC. This is from the main folks who deal with these kind of things. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control. In case you want to look it up, look up this from www.cdc.gov. You put /tobacco / data statistics, all that. All right. And this, now I do know that you can't advertise cigarettes on TV. That I do know. I know you can advertise in the magazines, but you cannot advertise cigarettes in the United States on TV. You can't do that. You can advertise alcohol, but you can advertise advertise wine and beer and stuff, but you cannot advertise cigarettes on TV. But you can put it in magazines, you can put it in movies, you can put it in music, obviously. But not on you can't show a cigarette commercial. You will never see a Newport commercial on TV during the 7th inning stretch of the World Series. You won't see it. It's banned. You can't do it. It's illegal to do that. But cigarettes are not seen as badly as marijuana. Even though I just read you the first recorded marijuana death, which, reading the article, you can see the holes in that. You can see the folly in that data. But I show you Center for Disease Control stats of cigarettes and alcohol. No problem. Those drugs kill. Cigarettes literally kill 480,000 times more than marijuana, because you got 1 to 480,000. Okay, one marijuana death recorded versus 480,000 recorded cigarette deaths. And I just read you alcohol. Alcohol is a drug that killed 81,000 people in 4 years, from 2006 to 2010. I ain't even got to 2011 to 2017. I'm not going to read those. I'm not even going to read that. That's just from 2006 to 2010. The CDC from 2006 to 2010. That's what you got. So why is marijuana demonized? Like I said before, I don't smoke marijuana. I don't smoke weed. I do not drink, nor do I smoke cigarettes. I do not partake in either one of those three. So you probably say, well, if you don't smoke weed or you don't smoke cigarettes, alcohol, why are you talking about this? Well, I talk about it because when I see a bit of hypocrisy in the laws and policies that are made and passed, and I see people being punished unequally for a crime that shouldn't be a crime, it's a problem. Because to me, I see it as more. To me, it's deeper than a drug. To me, it's an economic thing. It's a race thing. It's a gender thing. It's a gender subject, a race subject, an economic subject. And I play this. I remember. Some of you don't know. Do y'all remember when was it the title Rap Radar? You know, the podcast with Elliot and B Dot when they had the Jay-Z interview, and it was a part interview on part two of his interview. He was talking about how um his his co-founder of Rockefeller Records, Kareem Biggs, right? For those who don't know, Jay-Z, Dame Dash, and Kareem Biggs started Rockefeller Records in 1996. Okay? Kareem Biggs was more like behind the scenes, but after Rockefeller had broke up, had split up, and there was no more Rockefeller, Kareem had went to jail for possession of marijuana, right? This was before other states started making it legal to sell marijuana or have marijuana. Just before that, this was years before that, right? So Kareem Biggs went to jail for some years for having a certain amount of marijuana, right? Like enough to grow, and you know, start something, right? He went to jail for some years behind that, right? And while he was in jail, you started hearing rumors about the legalization of marijuana, medicinal marijuana, making it legal for the public now, right? Like they did alcohol. At one point in time, alcohol was illegal, and people had to do illegal things, like having speakeasies and all that stuff, and hide it and bootleg it and moonshining. Like that's why the moonshine was, because they used to make the alcohol literally by the light, like in the dark, and the only light you had was the moonlight. So moonshine, moonlight, or bootlegging, where they would have women carry bottles of liquor around their legs or in their boots, and they used to hide it with big dresses. That's what they used to call it, bootlegging. And speakeasies were clubs where there was secret clubs where, in order for you to get into the club to drink alcohol because it was illegal, you had to speak a word to get easy access. Hence the term "speak easy." Right? That was during the 20s, and then later, as years went on, alcohol became legal, which is where we are now. So they're doing the same thing now. Right now, they're starting to end the prohibition of marijuana, right? But before then, it was like an all-out war on marijuana. Like the whole thing about the whole war on drugs was pretty much a war on black people having, selling drugs and stuff like that. Even though statistically, more whites sold and had more drugs than blacks, but blacks will get sentenced harsher for having the same drugs that white counterparts would have, right? So Jay-Z made a comment during his interview, right? He was talking about how for years Kareem went to jail for having weed, and now they're starting to make weed legal. He's like, so okay, so if you're gonna make weed legal now, why are there still people in jail for possession of marijuana? Because there are people still in jail right now for possession of marijuana, even though little by little, state by state, marijuana is becoming legal. Like you got weed dispensaries, and I think, and in DC. I'm from Washington DC, right? I remember when the news came that marijuana was legal in DC, right? That was crazy to me, because now I'm like, okay, well, if they made weed legal in DC now, why don't they let the people who are in jail for possession of marijuana? Why don't they let them go? Now the reason why I think they're not gonna let them go is because with marijuana, when they was selling it illegally, you couldn't tax it. That's why alcohol was illegal in the 20s, and that's why marijuana was illegal for these years, and it just became legal because the government couldn't tax it. Because let's not get it twisted. The United States is a business, And I remember in economics class, and I was in 8th grade. My teacher told me the first rule of business is making money. That's the first rule of business, making money. However you can make money, that's how you do it. So people were selling marijuana illegally, and they would go to jail because the government couldn't tax it. Because, like I said, alcohol kills more people than marijuana. But since the government was able to tax it, it's legal now, right? Cigarettes kill more people than marijuana. But since you can tax it, it's legal. Prescription drugs, Percocet, Xanax, Oxycontin, Oxycontin, plenty of overdosing. Plenty of overdosing. More overdoses from that than marijuana. Yet, because it can be taxed, it's legal. Even though the suicide rates are crazy because of it. People are committing suicide from prescription drugs. People are just accidentally overdosing. Like, they take it and they overdose and die from it. But it's still legal. You can still go to the store right now and buy those drugs. Because you can tax it. Because money can be made from it. So now that the government has found a way to make money from marijuana now, make it medical, make it medicinal. Because apparently I have yet to find a medicinal purpose for cigarettes. I've yet to find a medicinal purpose for a Newport. Even though there have been studies on medicinal marijuana and how it helps people with glaucoma and things like that, and seizures and all that stuff. It's still legal. It's still illegal. So now you can find a way to tax it little by little. Sooner or later, this country will become a green state, quote unquote, green state. So when you find a way to make money off of the product, what you need to do next is get rid of competition. This is simple street stuff. This is simple stuff you learn in the street. First rule is make money. Second rule is take out your competition. So now that they have found a way to make money, aka taxes, the next thing you need to do is get rid of competition. Who was the competition for the government for medical marijuana? The illegal drug dealers. That's your competition. Because it's no taxes, no red tape, no forms you gotta fill out. It's straight to consumer. It's hand to hand, literally hand to hand. You have the product, I have the money, supply and demand, right? And the only person they will have to pay is their supplier. But because you cut out the government wants to be the middleman. Or the government either wants to be the middleman or the supplier or the plug. If the government can't be the middleman or if the government can't be the plug, then you can't walk this block. That's in simple street terms. Either I'm the plug or I'm the middleman, or you can't sell on my block. So the government wants to be the plug. All right, look, we're going to get the competition. The competition is gone now. They're in jail. That's how you give the competition. You make the punishment for having marijuana so harsh that they're in jail long enough for you to come up with a plan to monopolize on this product, marijuana. And as a government, I'm going to let you sell this if you give me a cut. Either you give me a cut or I will supply your folks with it. Now, it sounds like I'm talking about some street stuff, but that's really what it is. Basic business is basic street knowledge. You supply, demand. Your competition comes up. Your competition don't want you. Don't you, because you're taking money out of the government's pocket. So they say, okay, we're gonna put you in jail, and we're gonna supply your customers. So that's how that's going. So So for years, people wonder why people going to jail for selling marijuana, but they're not going to jail for selling cigarettes or selling alcohol. Well, why? Simple. You make money off of it. You can tax it. If I can't make money from it, then I got to get rid of you. If you're not going to pay me to supply your people, I'm going to get rid of you. Monopoly. This simple game monopoly. Own it or get rid of it. So why is marijuana being illegal? Why is marijuana starting to be legal in different states now? Why is it starting now? Because the government has found a way to, one, get rid of your competition, and two, get money from it, tax it. So you see places like DC, California, I believe New York, Colorado, which was ahead of the curve years ago. Colorado, stuff like that. I think Las Vegas, Nevada, believe is one of the states. So little by little, you're gonna have a green state or green states. So don't be surprised when you see the United Marijuana of America. Okay, so that's just a little bit my little rant on the legalization of marijuana and all that stuff. All right, so hope you enjoyed my rant, my talk. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think about it. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Hit the little bell for notification. I will catch you all later. Peace.